In Gaza, this time against refugee camps.
Man responsible for the deadly mass shooting in Maine found dead.
A new state senator for Indiana District 36.
The latest in sports with reporter Kaden Colford.
And an inclusive entertainment report from Chuck Foster.
All this and more on UINDY TV. Welcome, my name is Derek Jones.
And I'm Maddie Fisher.
Reporter Robert, the man responsible for the deadly mass shooting in the Maine on October 25th, was found dead this past Friday. Mike Sauce-Chuck, Maine Commissioner of Public Safety, goes into detail of the discovery.
Nobody had any idea that across the street, across Capitol Avenue, there's an overflow parking lot, which is the Recycling Corporation property. So the owner was very diligent to say, well, did you clear those trailers? Well, what trailers are you talking about? So then the follow-up is with the tactical team commanders to say, okay, tell me exactly where you were at. And then they were doing the same thing. We were looking at our timeline. We cleaned trailers. We didn't clear those. Let's go back. So the Maine State Police tactical team ultimately were the ones that located the body within one of those trailers.
Massive attacks and blasts have hit Jabalia refugee camp in Gaza for the second day in a row now. As of yesterday, we can see the damage surrounding a crater in the Jabalia neighborhood. People are also seen searching through the rubble for survivors. The civil defense in Hamas-run Gaza said many people died in the attack and large numbers remained under the rubble in what is described as a second massacre at the refugee camp. Israeli forces pounded Gaza with a new wave of rocket attacks near Falah. Medics said there were hundreds of casualties, dead and wounded. The IDF said Tuesday's attacks were meant to kill Ibrahim Biari, described as one of the Hamas commanders responsible for the October 7th attack on Israel, which left more than 1,400 people dead and hundreds taken hostage.
With the development of more violence on the Gaza Strip, here's another report from CNN.
A hammer is their only tool. Then it's their bare hands as Gazans sift through piles of mangled metal, concrete, and dust in search of bodies. This is the second hit on the Jabalia refugee camp this week. The Israeli military says it was targeting a Hamas command and control complex and killed several Hamas members, and blames Hamas for intentionally endangering civilians by building its infrastructure in populated areas. The director of Gaza's Indonesian hospital says the strike killed scores of people and injured hundreds more. The scale of destruction is widespread and pressure is growing on Israel to call for a ceasefire as the civilian death toll from the war escalates. In the meantime, a glimmer of hope as injured Palestinians and hundreds of foreign nationals, including U.S. citizens, have started arriving on the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing Wednesday. Back in the U.S., political pressure is mounting. President Biden was confronted by a rabbi during a private fundraiser in Minneapolis.
Mr. President, if you care about Jewish people as a rabbi, I need you to call for a ceasefire right now.
Biden responded by saying he was supportive of a humanitarian pause to allow for the release of the more than 200 hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Muslim leaders representing a key voting bloc in Minneapolis say the president failed to meet their deadline to call a ceasefire this week.
No ceasefire, no vote in 2024.
Reporting in New York, Gloria Pasmino.
The United States job market experienced some growth last month, but not as much as expected. The payroll processor ADP gave a report on the U.S. job market on Wednesday. 113,000 jobs were added last month, which was lower than expected. Economists expected that at least 150,000 jobs would be added to the U.S. economy. The unemployment rate is at 3.8%. The report also stated that wages have experienced an average of 5.7% increase year over year. That's the slowest pace of growth since October of 2021.
Anti-Trump challengers claim he is disqualified under the 14th Amendment because of the January 6, 2020 Capitol riot. A provision in the 14th Amendment bans U.S. office holders from future elections if they aid or engage in insurrection. An attorney for the anti-Trump challengers urged the office justices to, quote, uphold the U.S. Constitution and defend American democracy by ruling that Trump be disqualified from running for office. A similar challenge to Trump's ballot candidacy is happening in Colorado. Former President Trump has denied any wrongdoing regarding January 6th.
Another hazing case brought against IU.
And coming...
Are you feeling alone in your faith? UINDY Catholic gives you an opportunity to get involved in a religious community on campus, providing sacramental needs and fellowship for prospective students and giving you a sense of belonging.
We just want you guys to know that God loves you, He delights in you, and He's in awe of you, and we would love to meet you, so you should come on out.
UINDY Catholic, a community for you.
For children who may have high-functioning autism, may have ADHD, processing challenges, working memory issues, sensory integration issues, those types of challenges. It's a place where human beings are valued, children are respected. It's a progressive school that takes a hands-on approach to education.
Another fraternity at Indiana University is on cease and desist for hazing. Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity is the 5th fraternity to be placed on cease and desist since August. The fraternity joined Kappa Sigma, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, and Delta Upsilon. Indiana University defines cease and desist status as an interim measure placed upon certain aspects of chapter operations when there is an immediate threat or ongoing investigation. All activities for the 5 fraternities are suspended until further notice. There are still 23 fraternities available to join on the Bloomington campus.
State Senator Cindy Carrasco of the Republican Party was sworn in as Indiana State Senator for Senate District 36 by Indiana Supreme Court Chief Justice Loretta Rush yesterday. Carrasco succeeds State Senator Jack Saldine, who passed away unexpectedly on September 20th. District 36 includes portions of Marion and Johnson counties. Carrasco currently serves as the Vice President and General Counsel for University of Indianapolis, is a previous Executive Director for the State Ethics Commission, and was the first female Inspector General for the state of Indiana.
The suspect in the Tupac Shakur murder more than 27 years ago pleaded not guilty during an arraignment hearing in Las Vegas on Thursday. 6-year-old Dwayne K. Davis, also known as Keith D., was indicted on murder charges in September. Prosecutors told the court they don't intend to seek the death penalty. Police say Davis orchestrated the plan to track down Shakur along with Death Row Records executive Suge Knight on September 7, 1996. Davis has said publicly he was in the front seat of a white Cadillac when it pulled up alongside the car Shakur was riding in, and that shots came from the back seat. Shakur died 6 days later. Davis was arrested on September 29th and has since been held without bail. Police say 3 people in the car with Davis have since died.
More than a dozen people were injured after a shooting at a Halloween party in Chicago. City leaders say the gunman was reportedly booted from the gathering before returning with a gun. Michelle Gallardo reports.
This surveillance video captured the moments after gunfire erupted at a North Lawndale Halloween party. People outside the gathering seen here running away.
We was in here having a fun, good time, and there was arguing. The party had to get let out. So all you hear was gunshots, everybody ducking on the floor, women screaming.
Chicago police responding to the scene at 13th and Pulaski within minutes of getting reports of shots fired.
How many people are down?
Police say 15 people were shot and 2 of the victims were critically hurt. Will Ricks, who saw the aftermath, says one of his friends was injured. Rick says he even caught a glimpse of the shooter as he tried to get away.
I was coming down the street and a guy ran past with a gun in his hand, across the lot and around the corner.
Police caught the suspected shooter a block away and say officers also recovered a gun.
Father God, we thank you now, God.
Sunday afternoon, members of the North Lawndale community focused on healing, gathering in prayer. 24th Ward Alderwoman Monique Scott acknowledging the trauma this shooting has left on her neighborhood.
I don't know whether to scream or to cry. We shouldn't be out here on a Sunday because 15 victims lay in the hospital because they were shot, because someone couldn't get back into a party.
Police and city officials say the party location has a history of hosting unlicensed events. Now CPD is getting ready to issue a summary closure order to shut it down.
Chilling air plunged south of Canada early this week and spread to much of the U.S. Tuesday night. This year's Halloween temperatures fell to scary levels. This was only the 8th time on record that Indianapolis picked up at least a trace of snow on Halloween. Weather records stretch back all the way to 1884. Forecasters say these conditions will end for the south and central U.S. before this weekend.
Speaking of how freezing it was on Halloween, we have our meteorologist Elijah Sutton with the weather. Elijah, please say it's going to get warmer.
Well, Derek, you're in luck. We're going to get a little bit of a warmer day. We're definitely not going to be seeing as much snow as we saw on Halloween or last week whatsoever. So let's get into the weather today. So today we had a bit of a high of 51. It was sunny for most of the day, but you know, we got a little cloudier later today, and it's going to be clear though. It's just going to be a little dreary, but it's going to drop down to a low of 42 by 11 p.m. tonight. But you can look forward to this weekend and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as far as weather, because we're going to be partly cloudy on Friday with a high of 58 here and a low of 37. But you still will get to see a little bit of sun Friday there. On Saturday and this weekend, Derek, you're lucky. It'll be a little bit warmer. You'll have a high of 58 and a high of 63 on Sunday there. But it'll get down to a low of 45 on Saturday and a low of 44. But on Monday, we'll see higher weather, which is a little crazy for fall. We'll have a high of 67 on Monday and a low of 51 with a little bit of cloudy conditions. So you've got some nice weather to look forward to. But we'll be back with sports after this break with Caden Colford.
There's often a moment when you're helping somebody with math where they just suddenly get over that little barrier and they get it. It's a nice aha moment, and I really like being involved in helping students achieve that moment, and we do get a lot of those here in the tutoring lab.
The first time I went to Lucas Oil was last year for the 6A Center Grove versus Carroll State High School football game. And I walk in this time thinking I know what's going on, thinking I know what's going to happen. And if I were to say that Lucas Oil lost any effect on you, just the pure vastness that it hits you when you walk in, I'd be wrong. And Jace put it perfectly. He walked in and said, wow, this is the dream. And it is, because the people that we look up to listen to a high school football game of the week on WICR HD3 UINDY Radio.
Welcome back to UINDY TV News. My name is Caden Colford here with your Circle City Sports Fix. But first, some national news. After their 5-0 victory over the Diamondbacks last night, the Texas Rangers have been crowned the champions of the 2023 World Series. Just 2 seasons ago, the Rangers lost 102 games. They finished last year with a 68-94 record. This season, however, a completely different story. 90 wins punched the tickets for the Rangers' wild card spot. And from the opening night of the postseason, the Rangers were on a mission, sweeping both Tampa Bay and Baltimore before beating the Astros in just 7 games to win the ALCS. The final series of their season was absolutely dominant. Adolis Garcia and Corey Seager led the squad offensively, hitting over .315 and combining for over 14 total long balls in the postseason. On the mound, Nathan Eovaldi and Jordan Montgomery were key in limiting explosive offenses all season long, while Aroldis Chapman, he came out of the pen and closed it down for the majority of the season. This World Series win comes against a very talented Diamondbacks team who are also a wild card team heading into October. But the rookie sensation Corbin Carroll could not propel his team to victory. With spring training seemingly right around the corner, the Texans are tasked with defending their title heading into next season. As for the Colts, the New Orleans Saints coming to Lucas Oil Stadium last Sunday and took them down 38-27. Coming off a controversial loss to the Browns the week before, the Colts had some extra fire in them to get the game early, 17-7. This is the Pacers up here, but the Colts, Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss, they're back on the field. A late second quarter collapse defensively wise allowed the Saints to go up 21-20 heading into halftime. Struggles in the second half, they continued, especially in the secondary as Derek Carr threw for over 310 yards, 153 of which went to the hands of Rashid Shaheed. The Colts were not able to stage a late comeback and fell 3-5 on the season, losing their 3rd game in a row, 38-27. to 27. Gardner Minshew, he played better, however, than the previous weeks, only turning the ball over one time through interception. Jonathan Taylor ran for over 95 yards on 12 carries, and rookie receiver Josh Downs continued his hot start to the year with 72 yards and 7 receptions. Colts back in action again this Sunday, this time a later start in Carolina at 4:05. The Panthers got their first win of the season against Houston last week as Bryce Young had his best game in his early rookie career. Panthers are currently 1-6. The Colts continue to struggle. They're looking to find some bright spots on the team as the season winds down for them. They need to get something going soon if they're wanting to make a playoff push. Heading now into the Pacers, two guys right here, Jason Tatum, Ben Mathurin, they dueled it out. Pacers took a brutal loss to Boston Celtics last night by a score of 155-104. Yes, heard that right, 155-104. TJ McConnell, Andrew Nembhard led the way for the Pacers, scoring 18 and 14 respectively. McConnell also led in the rebound column with 7 and an assist, alongside Buddy Hield with 5 assists apiece. However, on the Celtics side, Jason Tatum absolutely tore it up. 30 points en route to a massive victory over the Pacers. Last time the Celtics scored 155 points in a regular season game, they only had 1 championship banner. For any context, Bill Russell had 11 of those at the old Boston Garden. This was also the most points scored since 1958-59 season that featured Bob Cousy and young stars, as I said, Bill Russell and Tommy Hinson, beating Minneapolis 173-139. Pacers never got even within 14 points in the final 21 minutes of the game, trailing by 30 or more. Pacers return to Gainbridge Fieldhouse tomorrow night against the Cleveland Cavs for the first in-season tournament game. The Pacers defeated the Cavs last Saturday 125-113. And we're going to stick with basketball here. I try to sprinkle a little bit of red into our performance today. Basketball fans around the world woke up with a heavy heart this morning, as last night it was announced that legendary basketball coach Bob Knight passed away at the age of 83. Knight is best known for his historic coaching tenure at Indiana University, leading the Hoosiers to 3 national championships and 11 Big Ten championships in his seasons with the program, 29 of those. The General, a furious and fierce competitor whose passion was unmatched throughout the world of sports. Support has been flooding social media as many of Knight's former players, peers, and even his biggest competitors over at Purdue have expressed their love for Coach Knight and their condolences to the family. On behalf of everybody who's striving to be the best that they can be at their craft, UINDY TV wants to thank Coach Knight for being the embodiment of devotion, teaching us that drive and hard work can make us both winners on and off the court. More to come next on UINDY TV.
We'll leave it to our actual athletes. Watch UINDY TV's live sports broadcast on GLVCSN and YouTube.
The first time I went to Lucas Oil was last year for the 6A Center Grove versus Carroll State high school football game. And I walk in this time thinking I know what's going on, thinking I know what's going to happen. And if I were to say that Lucas Oil lost any effect on you, just the pure vastness that it hits you when you walk in, I'd be wrong. And Jace put it perfectly. He walked in and said, wow, this is the dream. And it is, because the people that we look up to listen to a high school football game of the week on WICR HD3 UINDY Radio.
Actor Matthew Perry has died at the age of 54, with Warner Brothers Television Group confirming his death around 4 p.m. on Saturday. It was reported by the Los Angeles Times that Perry was found dead in a hot tub at his home. The Times did not provide a cause of death, but stated there was no signs of foul play. Perry was most famous for his role as Chandler Bing on the sitcom TV show Friends, but also starred in countless other shows. Perry had spoken openly about his struggles with addiction, stating that he spent more than half his life in treatment and rehab facilities. Our condolences are with Perry's friends and family during this difficult time. The king of pop music, Michael Jackson, is having a documentary covering him and his Thriller album. 40 years after Michael Jackson's Thriller album changed the music world and redefined pop music, the documentary Thriller 40 dives into how it was made and what it was meant for. Released in 1982, Thriller became the best-selling album of all time worldwide, with over 66 million copies sold. Songs of the album include Billie Jean, Beat It, Thriller, PYT, among other hit singles. Thriller 40 will include never-before-seen footage and exclusive interviews of Usher, Mark J. Blige, will.i.am, Mark Ronson, and more. Thriller 40 debuts December 2nd on Paramount Plus with Showtime. The documentary Thriller 40 will be a must-watch for Michael Jackson fans and music lovers as the King of Pop's legacy remains. The classic Nickelodeon hit Good Burger is getting a part 2. On Monday, Paramount Plus released an unexpected trailer for Good Burger 2. The movie will star Kenan Thompson as Dexter and Ken Miller as Ed from the original movie in 1997. Good Burger 2 will follow Dexter and Ed as they plan to stop evil Megacorp and put Mega Good Burger in every city around the world. The movie will be directed by Phil Thrale. Overall, the movie will bring back lots of the original cast and also introduce new characters. The movie will premiere on November 22nd in the US and Canada. Britney Spears has another hit on hand, but this time it's not a song. Britney Spears released her memoir called Woman in Me on October 24th. Since then, it has sold over 1.1 million copies in the United States alone throughout the first week. Woman in Me memoir is already bestseller by New York Times and USA Today. The memoir's audiobook narrated by Oscar nominee Michelle Williams, which helped it become the fastest-selling audiobook in the publisher's history. Spears says she is grateful to her fans and thankful for the unending support. Her memoir covers her account of her dramatic rise to global fame and her ongoing struggles with highs and lows of life. Coming up, a special holidays for loved ones start and a new birth at the zoo you won't want to miss.
Are you feeling alone in your faith? UINDY Catholic gives you an opportunity to get involved in a religious community on campus, providing sacramental needs and fellowship for prospective students and giving you a sense of belonging.
We just want you guys to know that God loves you, He delights in you, and He's in awe of you. And we would love to meet you. So you should come on out.
UINDY Catholic, a community for you.
For children who may have high-functioning autism, may have ADHD, processing challenges, working memory issues, sensory integration issues, those types of challenges. It's a place where human beings are valued, children are respected. It's a progressive school that takes a hands-on approach to education.
The ghosts and goblins are done for the year, but Halloween is not the last day to celebrate the dead. Day of the Dead, also known as Dia los Muertos, is a Mexican holiday celebrated every November 1st and 2nd for families to welcome back the souls of their deceased loved ones. On November 1st, families welcome the spirits of their deceased young children to come visit. This day is known as Dias Muertos. On November 2nd, families of deceased adults and their family. Spirits are welcome with their favorite food, pictures of ofrenda, which is also an altar decorated for each loved one, and religious statues. Day of the Dead are 2 full days to reunite with those who have passed before you by celebrating the continuity of life.
Now, I know Halloween was just 2 days ago, but who doesn't want to hear about the holidays? We already have our first forecast on what sales are looking like for this Christmas shopping season.
'Tis the season of spending, and despite concerns over the economy, the National Retail Federation says consumers are ready to spend big.
NRF is forecasting that total holiday sales during the months of November and December could reach as high as $967 billion.
The holiday shopping season keeps creeping earlier and earlier. This year, it's for a very practical reason.
They want more time to find deals, and they want more time to really spread out that shopping.
With inflation holding steady, NRF Vice President Catherine Collins says holiday shoppers are more price conscious.
Shoppers are saying they will pull back in other areas in order to afford and prioritize their holiday shopping season. They will search for sales and deals and really look for ways to make every dollar count.
And where are they putting those dollars?
Gift cards were the top item that people said they were shopping for this year rather than specific products.
Another big trend this season, beauty and self-care products, thanks in part to influencer culture.
Shoppers are finding influencers and social media to be increasingly important when it comes to hearing about deals, but also discovering new products and things that they didn't know they needed.
As far as deals goes, Kristen McGrath with Retail Me Not says Black Friday shopping is still the best bang for your buck.
We tend to find the most deals and the best deals all concentrated around that one big weekend.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
Get excited because a new baby animal has arrived to the Indianapolis Zoo. A long-tailed macaque monkey was born at the Indianapolis Zoo on October the 11th. The birth was announced by the zoo yesterday. However, officials have confirmed that there is yet to be a name of the new member of the macaque family. Once ready, the baby will be on display for visitors in the Sharing One World display.
That is so exciting. That's the second week in a row that we've got to talk about a new baby animal at a zoo.
I know, right? I love animals. I used to want to be a zoologist.
That's the circle of life.
Yeah,
Thank
like
you.
in Lion King. Yeah.
Thank you. How was your Halloween weekend?
Halloween was a blast, and I think this weekend's going to be so much fun. We're talking about sports. I know we already gave the sports fix, right? Looking into UINDY sports, we got a packed Saturday, right? We have UINDY football versus McKendree. That's at 2 o'clock. Our own UINDY TV is going to be on that, and volleyball right at the same time on the GLVC Sports Network, UINDY volleyball there. I'm excited. I know we're excited. We get to produce all of it. A busy weekend. That's nothing new for us.
Nothing new for us, but I want you, Caden, we were talking about animals. Caden, you have to share your Halloween costume with the viewers.
Well, I had some camo at home. My family, we're pretty outdoorsy, right? So I threw on the camo, threw on my camo hat. I had a plush cougar that my aunts had that I used to play with about 15 years ago, right? So I threw the cougar over my back, threw the camo on, and I went to Halloween as a cougar hunter.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool.
What'd you go as, Derek?
I was Jaylen Brown from the Celtics.
Well, that's really unfortunate considering the massacre that we watched.
Winners win, though, Derek.
Yeah, winners win. I'm sorry, not a big Pacers fan.
It's really unfortunate to always be rooting for the losing team. Except my Cards. They're doing great.
They're doing okay.
Yeah. They're doing great.
They're doing better than Notre Dame. Or
They're
well, they
doing
beat
better than Notre Dame. Jace Hodge, if you're watching, U of L is better than Notre Dame.
Okay.
That's all that matters. That's the most important to me. Well, make sure you come back and join us on Tuesday for election coverage right here on UINDY TV.
And also join us for Good Morning Greyhounds live Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m.
As always, have a good night and
roll hounds.
Are you feeling alone in your faith? UINDY Catholic gives you an